I want to begin by inviting all of us to take a step back to when we were the kids, to the very first time we write our essay on when I grow up, I want to be. How many of us went on to become that person? How many of us went on to do the things that we wanted to do?
Such as embark on an adventure to cycle around the world.
Such as launching an awesome project, telling people that you believe that dreams can come true. 3.5 years ago, Tia and myself, we quit our careers, sold off everything we owned, which wasn't a lot. Said goodbye to friends and family in Singapore, and embarked on this crazy journey to cycle around the world, ask people one question.
What's your dream?
Now, if there's somebody you've always wanted to become, if there's something you've always wanted to do, what is it? What is your dream? Take a moment and think about it. I'll give you 5.
Do you guys really think about it? How about another 5?
Okay, another 5.
Because you were staring at us blankly. Think about what your dream is.
And 5.
Okay, now, to tell you the very honest truth, 3.5 years ago when Val volunteered the both of us to go around the world, my first reaction to her was, I can't. I can't do it. I was at phase 2 of my life, which is the part where it happens after college, before retirement. I had to carve out a career. I had to buy a car. I had to get married. And then I have to buy a house. And then I have to have children. And then I have to make sure that my children go to college, get a good college degree. And then I have to make sure that they go on to phase 2 of their life smoothly. And then make sure that I have a good retirement plan for myself to retire. I had to do all of that before I can think about what my dream is. So I told her, I can't. I have no money. I have no time. And she said cycling around the world. Mind you, Val does not know how to cycle. Tell me how realistic it actually is. And most important of all, what am I going to tell my mom?
Perhaps all of us here can resonate with this. Right after we asked you what your dream is, remember those blank faces? Before you could even articulate or formulate your answers, your mind was already busy, generating a whole list of limitations to living your dreams. The many reasons why we couldn't, shouldn't, haven't. And we invite you to write them down. On those very colorful Post-it notes in front of you, write down the top 3 reasons why you're not living your dreams yet.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How about 5 more?
Now, limitations for you and you alone.
Yep. Forget about those kids. It's their off day. Come on.
Now, despite all these limitations that you see right here, we did make it to start our journey 3 years ago. We did make it across 12 countries. We did collect 2,617 dreams. And we did make it here today to speak at a TEDx event. So for the next 10 minutes, we would like to invite you to just challenge yourself on the very limits that you have written down right in front of you. Explore the possibilities beyond these limits and try to build an understanding just based on the idea of no limits.
Now, Tay and I, we didn't just randomly wake up one morning and decide, oh, let's just go cycling around the world and collect dreams. It wasn't even our idea in the first place. It all happened because of that gentleman there. We met him in Taiwan, and we call him Lo Papa. And it was his dream to cycle around Taiwan, visit every single train station, and take a photo at each of them as a life memento. When we met him, we were your typical young and successful women in phase 2. We just had our own company. We were debuting a wildly audience-rating television program. And we were also working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, extremely unhappy, completely empty. So his story changed our life. Moved by his passion, inspired by his life story, I volunteered to both of us to accompany him on that dream-chasing journey.
Now this man, Lo Papa, he loves the trains. When he was a baby, when every time he cried, his mom was to carry him all the way to the train station, and he would stop crying immediately. And at the age of 5, he would grab his little stool and go sit by the train station every day just to wait for this sound that comes, choo-choo, and he would just jump out from his chair and go chase after the train. That made him the happiest boy on earth. After he graduated from college with an engineering degree, the whole world expected him to go and be an engineer. But no, he chose to go sweep the floors of the train stations just so that he can be close to his beloved trains. 33 years later, he retired as a well-respected train master in Taiwan. Now, that was already 65 years old when he retired. You would have thought that he would have had enough of this passion called trains. But no, he had great plans for himself. He said, I want to live in a train now. So he spent his entire retirement savings pension, went to the old junkyard of the government, bought 2 train carriages that no longer move, towed them all the way to his hometown in a tiny little village in the middle of nowhere, and remodeled these 2 old train carriages into a restaurant and a B&B. Now the whole village was laughing at him. This man is crazy. He has an elderly mother, 1 wife, 7 children to feed. But 2 years later, he turned this crazy dream of his into a huge nationwide success. Today, if you want to go and sit in his restaurant, you will have to queue up during the weekend. If you want to go and stay in his B&B, you will have to call and book him a month in advance.
Lo Papa was pretty much your average Joe. He had a standard set of limitations. He wasn't born wealthy, and he too faced societal expectations and peer pressure. He too had family commitments and obligations. So what made him different? What was his X factor? Why was he successfully living his dreams one after another, when others could only laugh at the sheer absurdness and impossibilities of his pursuits? Whatever his dream was, working at a train station, becoming a train master, owning train carriages, living in one, he did it. Whatever he desired his reality to be, he created it. To Lo Papa, living one's dream was something as natural as, if you're hungry, you eat. If you're thirsty, you drink. If nature calls, you pee. Sometimes you have to shit. That's life. No questions about it.
There wasn't a single moment where Lo Papa paused and considered limiting factors in his life. Just like many of us, he had a family to take care of. There was food to be put on the table, bills to be paid, education to be provided for. But instead of seeing all these commitments as limitations, he took his dream, turned it into a livelihood. He took all these family commitments and social obligations as a driving force to make his dream the successful business it is today. In Lo Papa's reality, there were no limits. He taught us this: just as we could see setbacks, obstacles as stepping stones in our life journey, we can also choose to see these so-called limits as
the very driving force that fuels us, that pushes us, that drives us to successfully live our dreams. And other than driving us towards our dreams, limits also expand.
What did you just say?
Limits expand.
Now, you realize that we are standing here in front of a group of professional educators. Some of these very brilliant people teach English. Limits, limit.
Limits expand, and I'll tell you why. We were limited in resources when we first began preparations for Journey. We were supposed to be cycling, right? As you already know, I didn't know how to cycle, much less than, say, change a punctured tube, or even how to load my bicycle bags onto the bike rack. But had I been a professional cyclist, had I known anything about the journey I was about to embark on, such as, unlike in Singapore, the roads aren't always flat, there are uphills, and sometimes there are huge mountains, such as I would be sharing the road with crazy truck drivers who think that they're F1 car racers, such as there will be days where I'll need to cycle miles and miles of absolute nothingness before I reach civilization. I would have never commit myself to this journey. But I didn't know better. And because I did not know better, I was not bounded by standards or specifications on how a cycling road trip should be. Instead, I had all the space to create my own permutations and combinations of how our journey could be. Limits expanded our possibilities.
Now, our limited resources also expanded our abilities to turn these possibilities into a reality. Now, we were short on time. We only had 6 months to make it or die. So, because we had such a limited time frame, we had to focus and concentrate all our energies on actions that will actually move us forward. We had no time to hesitate about the unknown.
You simply had to forge ahead and discover what the unknown was.
We had no time to mock over our failures.
Whatever didn't work, well, we'll just need to move on to the next alternative.
We had no time to fear fear itself. Now, Val was terrified of cycling. How do you actually learn cycling?
You get up on a bike, ride or try, fall, get up and try again and again and again until you finally find yourself on the road.
Now, our limited time forced us to just concentrate on constructive actions. There was no room and no time for distractions, and that expanded our abilities to make our vision into a reality.
In fact, one of our benefactors told us he had witnessed for himself how a team of experienced and very well-trained climbers tried to organize support for their Mount Everest expedition. It took them 6 years. So he wanted to see for himself how two completely untrained and completely inexperienced pedestrians like us are going to pull off a round-the-world cycling journey in 6 months. So he helped us. How's that for limited resources expending resources? In this case, funds. Yes, money. The most frequent limitation people have shared with us on this journey. Because the logical thing would have been to earn enough money, save enough money, and then spend all that money to realize your dreams. By right, you're supposed to accumulate money to fund your dreams.
But instead of seeing limited funds as a limitation, we decided that we will begin this journey without a cent. We decided that we will let our dreams fund us. And because we did that, sponsors and individuals came on board, and they gave us things, resources, equipment that were beyond whatever that we could ever afford to buy.
We needed bicycles. We received bicycles, tools, maintenance equipment, and maintenance classes.
We needed clothes, and we got top-line, lightweight, durable clothes for all 4 seasons.
We needed filming equipment. We had shockproof, waterproof, everything-proof filming equipment, along with lifetime international warranty, the kind you can't upgrade into even if you had the money.
We needed eyesight repair. A surgeon, a Swiss company, came and gave us Olympian standard high-definition vision.
We needed accommodation. And for the last 1,099 nights on this journey, we had not needed to spend a single cent. Every single night, doors will be opened to us. And these strangers, they also opened their hearts to us. They shared their lives, they shared their cultures, and they shared their dreams. These strangers became friends and family.
Now, our limited resources, our limited funds force us to out-create our limitations.
And so, limits expanded the possibilities and expanded our abilities to make dreams come true. Limits expand.
So we are not saying that in order to fulfill your dreams and create your desired reality, you need to stay ignorant. Even though for us, being ignorant was bliss. We had a lot of room to be creative. And we are not saying that you need to take on an impossible deadline to make your dreams come true, because you need more than one day to climb Mount Everest. We are not saying that you need to take a vow of poverty and achieve everything despite without a cent, because the whole point is to create a sustainable livelihood living your dreams.
But just like how Lord Baba has inspired us by living an example, turning his limits into driving forces that helped him succeed, we invite you to do the same. We invite you to question, to re-examine those limits you may have assumed you have. We invite you to push those perceived boundaries and parameters. We invite you to out-create your obstacles, your limits, yourselves.
And we are standing here sharing these experiences with you because maybe of very similar and maybe exactly the same limits that you've written right in front of you. And with all these limitations in mind, we would like to ask you,
if you can be whoever you want to be,
if you can do whatever you want to do.
What is your dream?
Be it.
Do it.
No
No
limits.
limits. Thank you.